motherhood to children is more important, but fatherhood is more needed.
This is the Raising Carter podcast. I'm your host, Ramon Weatherall. And once again, I got my brother Speak Rock on the podcast, and we are asking the question. No, hey, no shade. No, don't beat me up, but it's a serious question. Are fathers more important than mothers? And this is a question that people are asking. This is a question that people are asking. I mean, I actually researched this, and people Google this point. Are fathers more important to mothers? So I'm gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna throw it out to you first, Speak Rock. What do you believe is the most significant role that a father plays in a child's development?
This is a great question. First, let's start it off with saying this. This is a great barbershop question because if people are asking this question, that means that there is a need out there for knowledge to
Right.
understand positioning in the midst of and in the era of men bashing women and women bashing men, popping balloons and all this other kind of stuff. Uh, I believe there is a remnant of people out there still thirsting for truth, universal truth, godly truth, so they can understand, where to go in these murky waters. So,
Right.
again, I appreciate you having your finger on the pulse of society and of the people, so we can do our best to shed light. Yeah, granted, it may be our opinion, but we're black men, we're men,
Yes.
we're husbands, we're fathers. So I believe we have something valid to bring to the table in reference to this conversation. So now let me get to the question. Uh, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to the effect of uh, what's the best, thing that a man can, bring to the table in reference to their children.
Right.
Of
The most
something to that effect, correct?
Yeah, the most significant role that a
Okay.
father plays in a child's development. What do you believe? What do you believe that is? What do you believe that is?
The most significant role that a father can bring to for a child's development is manhood. It may sound simple, it may sound very simplistic, but in this day and age that we're living in, all sorts of powers are doing their best to blur the lines of what is a man and what is a woman. And I'm just talking about off a pure image.
Yes, sir.
Image alone. So I would say to any father, the fact that you can stand flat-footed, shoulders back, chin up, direct eye contact with your deepest voice. Come on now, I'm just saying.
Yes, sir.
To
Yes,
show the
sir.
fact that I am a strapping, broad-chested, all male man. And that right there, the imagery, the position, the stance is what will resonate with the child, be it a male child or a female child. You cannot mistake the presence of a man. Let me give you a short example. Now, I'm getting off the beaten path a little bit, but it was it's the holiday season, and my sister-in-law was down, and she had her dog with her. And if
Mhm.
I'm not mistaken, the dog is a male dog. Okay, little dog, little lap dog. But nevertheless, if you know anything about canines, most canines will try to establish dominance, especially if it's a male dog and they're in the presence of other male dogs or even other male species.
Yes, sir.
The dog barked at everybody in the house. No, 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 no. Excuse me. Excuse me. The dog did not bark at everybody in the house. The only person that the dog barked at was me.
Mm.
Now, some would say, well, why is that? Well, maybe the dog just don't like you. I don't know. Maybe. maybe the dog was in the position of saying, hey, look, I'm a male dog, and this is a male, this is the man. What is it that's about this man that I feel I have to, as a dog, raise my voice? So me being the man that I am, I approached the dog. I got closer to the dog. So in other words, to show who I was.
Right.
So the dog will calm down and know its rightful place.
Right.
So why did I give that scenario? I just gave that scenario to say that is likened to what we must do to our own children. You must show your presence as being a man.
Oh man, that was awesome. That was an awesome explanation, man. You really took some of the words out of my mouth. And
Okay.
I think one of the most significant roles for a father is, like you said, being a man. Is being a man. Not just, like you said, not just for your son, it's for your daughters too. It's for your daughters too. They need that example just as much. But I also think what a father's purpose is to help your son or your daughter find their purpose. Helping them find their purpose, helping them find what they were put here to do. Not what you want them to do that you didn't do, now you want them to do. No. What can they do? What can they do? And we're the best at doing that. We're the best at doing it. I'm sorry. Get mad at me if you want to. The father is the best at doing that. It's stuff that we see that the mother doesn't pay any attention to. She doesn't pay any attention to. But you know what he's good at, what she's good at. And that's what our purpose is. That's one of our main purposes is to help them find their purpose. So that's number one. That's number one. That's my opinion. And we got my brother Speak Rock's opinion. Now, I got my second question. And men, hey, put down in the comments what you think. What you think for the number one question. But we're going to go to number two. In what ways do you feel fathers and mothers contribute differently to their children's emotional growth?
You catch them tendencies. I was the same way. You be around your mom, you emotional, and nobody gonna tell you, hey, stop acting like a little broad, bro. Shut the fuck up. Hey, nah, we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Still, nobody ain't there to steer them in the right direction, to help them control it. So that's why I feel like that's where I'm at now with my kid. Like, that's why I wish my dad was there to me just to have a conversation. Because I'm never gonna have a conversation where it's like some bullshit. Like, I bullshit talk with him sometimes, but most of the time I'll be trying to like just ask him questions. Hey, when was you want to make to the NBA, right? Yeah. When was the advent of the NBA? Or when was the NBA invented?
Men, for the most part, we take positions of being, in the forefront and being in control and being in a protective stance with our family. So for a man, when he's rearing his children, he would like for his children to be in control of their emotions, to have them be in a state where they're not being controlled by what's going on around them, but them being in control of what is trying to take control of them. And the only way you can do that is to understand and to allow yourself the ability to calm down in stressful situations. and to face life's issues head on.
Yes, sir.
Whereas a mother, her position would be, well, let's become one with whatever's going on, and let's take a step back, and if you need to cry, cry. If you need to take a break, take a break. If you need a timeout, take it.
Right.
And that's okay. And there may be a time for that, but for men, we have to say, no. Right now ain't the time for a timeout. Right now isn't the time for a break. It's a time to be in control and to take control. So I would say, for the most part, by and large, those are the differences between how a father would handle their children being in control and a mother having their children being in control.
I agree. I agree totally. And it's, I mean, like you said, there's nothing wrong. They're both, it's the yin and the yang. They're both needed at times. They're both needed at times. Sometimes you need some of that motherly love, but but the father is needed too, to say, like you said, okay, enough of that. Enough of that. Let's get back out there. Let's get back out there. Let's keep working. Okay, number 3. How do you think society views fathers today compared to the past? Oh boy, this is a good one right here, Speak Rock. This is a good one right here. Because I mean, if you talked about these kind of things with my 88-year-old father, he would be like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? This none of this makes any sense to me. And I don't know anything about this. What the things that happen today. I mean, he told me, my grandfather told him, I don't got to do nothing for you. I don't got to do nothing for you. And that's the past. That's the past. If you said that today, you would be the scum of the earth. If someone caught you telling your children on the internet, I don't gotta do nothing for you, hey, people will be sending messages to your job and everything. You will be in hot water everywhere. So today, things are much more sensitive. Things are much more sensitive. And maybe in some situations, that is good. It does protect children from people who take things too far. But in a lot of cases, it's not good, because the world is hard, man. It's hard. When you walk out the door, man, nobody cares. Like the old movie The Bronx Tales, we used to tell him, he told him, man, nobody cares. Nobody cares. You might think they do because you see all this shiny stuff and all this happy stuff on the internet or whatever. You see people doing nice things, but in real life, man, people don't care. And being soft and sensitive, it really doesn't get you very far. It really doesn't get, male or female, really. Yes, you should have empathy and sympathy for people, but you got to know that life is tough, and the only way to get through it is to get through it. So,
Yeah.
yes, people want to, people might try to say, oh, this is old school talking. Man,
Well, you make an excellent point, and when you mention society, so when we talk about society, we can only talk about Western American culture. Okay, yeah, and the only reason I say that is because we don't live in the eastern part of the world.
Right.
So we can't directly speak for how they view fatherhood. But in Western society, uh, by and large, I believe Western society has tremendously watered down the position of the father, because I would say because society is demanding control. Because here's what's interesting. Most everyone should know, if you desire to change a community, a culture, a people, you first must start with the strong man. You must first start with the headship, and that being the father. If you can control the father, if you can minimize and make the father minute, everything else is fair game. So, to answer your question, I believe the perception of the father has it always been, it's been a threat. It is the obstacle that's in the way. How else are we going to program your children to be addicted to their cell phone, to be addicted to their iPad, to be addicted to gaming? How else are we going to program your wife to constantly spend and be dedicated to retail therapy? How else are we going to program your wife to have a steady diet of basketball wives and Real Housewives of Atlanta? How else are we going to make your family be more codependent on what they see on social media than depending on what the father has said in the household? The only way we can do that is to remove the father.
Yep.
He is a barrier. He is a threat. He is our Achilles heel for us dictating to America, to the Western civilization, what we want and not what the father wants. So I would like to believe, especially in the African American household, the African American father has constantly, and it is throughout history, has been the individual that has been in the way of controlling the black family. The black family has the fall, and anybody can check this in the history books. The fall of the black family is when welfare was entered into the system, and black women and black families could not receive welfare because a black male was in the household.
Yep.
If a black father was in the household, you would not receive benefits. Families were broken up, destroyed, and that is the time when you start seeing the decrease of black marriages, black unions, black families, and mess, I dare say, and as you said earlier, people can get mad, but it's the truth. If you want to know how many black children are being born, run the numbers, and you can trace it all the way back to black men not marrying black women and black fathers not being in the household. So society sees us as a problem.
Definitely. Definitely. And I think this video that I got of is DL Hughley talking about his son. It kind of, it's a good segue. It's a good thing that, I want to bring it in right now, and we can speak on it and talk about it a little bit.
Defiant. What I recognized a long time ago is that defiance is what gives young black men killed, because the most young black men who are in prison have learning disabilities. They are dyslexic in some way, audio or idio. They can't hear or they can't understand their process. 85% of men in prison. So to somebody of a different culture, somebody culturally different, that may seem mischievous or he dances to his own beat. When it's our culture, somebody gets killed. And I knew right away that I would have to prepare him for a world that wasn't like the world she wanted for him. Like she was
a coddler.
And I was like, I
he's like, get in the game.
I can't let him do this because it will cripple him. It'll be, you could literally get your son killed by not getting him ready for a world that won't see him that way. So I think for a lot of his existence, a lot of his growing up.
Okay. For a lot of his growing up.
I failed him. I'm not getting him ready. And I was scared to death that if you fail your son, he dies. He could die. Not my daughters, I knew they'd be all right. But I didn't know how to make him ready for this world and see it clear so he could see what's coming. Like everybody tells you, put your hands on the wheel or stay away from this or don't do this. Black boys don't get that kind
That's
of
100%. He's 100% right. You can feel the way you feel about D.L. Hughley, whatever, but he's 100% right. If you don't get your sons ready, they can be killed. They can be killed if they're not ready for what's happening. You're setting them up for failure. What do you think about that, Speak Rock?
D.L. Hughley, his heart and his mind and his spirit was definitely in the right place, and then he was very impactful with his uh, pouring out from his heart about how he felt about his son. Now, being that time has passed, and if we look at this in retrospect, I have to add to D.L. Hughley's story that level of vitriol and the level of hatred towards young black people has extended more than just young black men. Let's talk about Sandra Bland. Let's talk about some of the other young black females that have been gunned down or mysteriously met their end by death that no one can explain. I find that to be troublesome. And a lot of times what was missing out of that scenario is, especially for young black women, is a black father. A father being in the household, teaching them, showing them. So I truly understand. My spirit connects with what D.L. is saying. However, it has grown since then.
Yep.
I don't believe our young black women, our young black daughters out here are any safe than what our young black boys are. I truly believe you have to prepare them and teach them as well. And the reason why I say that is because I'm very aware of what sex trafficking looks like in America. I'm very aware of what sexual assault looks like here in America.
Yep.
And get mad if you want to, but the gateways in the pipeline, such as the strip clubs, the trap houses, and whatever else you want to name, these are things that are thrown out there as candy to young girls, exploiting young women and putting them in some of the most diabolical situations. And if there's no black father in the house to have a voice like you and I, that strip club is going to look enticing. Okay?
Yep.
This older man trying to talk to your young daughter is going to look enticing.
Right.
But if there's not somebody like you and I standing at the door with the blicky, with the stick in our hand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and by the way, I had a Bible too, so I can give it to you either way you want to. I can give you the stick or I can give you the word. You choose, whatever you want.
Yes, sir.
But if it's not somebody like that standing at the door, our young daughters are in trouble.
They're in trouble. And I say this all the time. As a younger man out here running around in the streets, we knew who were the girls that you preferred to mess with. The ones who didn't have a father. That's all the players, all the Macs, they knew. She ain't got no daddy. I can go, so it's true. What D.L. Hughley said is true, but what Speak Rock is saying is true too. It's just it's some of the same circumstances, but it's some different it's some different circumstances based on gender. But it's you still have to get them ready for what's happening. You still have to give them the game on what's going down. The way you're dressing, you're wearing you want to be cute, you want to wear the tight, the tight pants. It might be a little boy you like, so you wear. All these other boys see you too that you don't like, and they think you wearing that stuff for them.
Can I add this real quick? I just want to throw some words of encouragement out there to our fathers. To our fathers that's listening to this, understand that you're going to take some heat for being a father. You're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be criticized. You're going to be mocked. You're going to be laughed at. You may even be betrayed. Yeah. And guess what? It's going to come out your own household.
Yes, sir.
It's going to come out your own family.
Yep.
You're going to take a lot of arrows. You're going to take a lot of darts. You're going to take some fire. You're going to take some heat. But guess what? The reason why we're men, the reason why we have broad shoulders, the reason why we're strong is because we can take it.
Yep.
Because here's the deal. If you don't take this heat, if you don't take this level of betrayal, if you don't take this unfair treatment, your family is going to fail and they're going to suffer because you weren't strong enough to stand.
Exactly.
So I'm telling you, you are strong. You are able to endure what this world is trying to throw at you. How the world is trying to minimize you and make your position as a father seem as if it's not needed. That is so not the truth. So I would encourage you to not listen to any of that rhetoric.
No.
And understand who you are and the value of who you are. So I know we got a lot of show going, but hey, look, we have to, and I will say this last thing. And if you need to stay in that place where you need to stay strong for your family, please do what myself and my brother are doing here right now. Get with somebody, talk, share, let loose, open yourself, make yourself available. Because the Bible says iron sharpens iron. You need to get with somebody who's gonna speak to you, who's gonna speak to the strength of who you are as a man, so you can stand and fight. That's all I got.
Man, that's beautiful, man. Brothers need to, hell, I needed to hear that because it's the truth. He said it. My brother said it. You are going to be betrayed in your own household at times. What you are saying, people might disagree with it, might not understand it, but you got to stay 10 toes down on what you believe, on what you believe, and what you believe. And we're talking about doing this with a level head. We're not talking about you being outrageous and being, just being some type of, crazy dictator or just being going far left. We're talking about you're doing this with a level head, but your daughter might not disagree. Your teenage daughter might totally disagree with what you're doing. Your teenage son might totally disagree, or younger than that, might totally disagree with what you're doing and think you are the worst father ever. What are you going to do? You going to cave? You going to let them have their way? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
And watch this. There's somebody out there waiting. They're waiting for the collapse.
Yep.
They're waiting for you to throw your hands up and give up. They're waiting for you to act like it doesn't matter anymore.
Yep.
They're waiting for your daughter or your son Soon they're waiting for them soon as they leave the house. And they all mine.
They all mine.
Oh, the streets is always waiting.
They all
Always.
always waiting to recruit. Always waiting. Okay. Number 4, the fourth question you need to ask yourself when people say, "Are fathers more important than mothers?" Here's another one. What challenges do you face as a father being active, involved in your children's lives? I mean, where do we start? Where do you start?
I know, right?
Like, where do you start? I mean, a challenge that I'm gonna be transparent. A challenge that you might have, that I have, is discipline. Disciplining your son, making your children understand that my discipline isn't you're just not. I just don't expect you to respect me. You also need to respect your mother. A lot of times, fathers, and I'm sure there are a lot of fathers out there who have a issue with either disciplining their son or their daughter. And when it comes to you, they're doing what you say. But when it comes to the other parent, they're not. And that can grow old, because that can cause problems in your marriage, in your if in your marriage, if you're co-parenting, whatever it can be. So that is a real difficulty that fathers could, that happens every day. Yes, they listen to me, but soon as I'm gone, it's an uproar. And then you over discipline, because now you're upset. You're hearing, you're hearing all this. Well, why doesn't he listen to me? So I know that fathers out there that know what I'm saying. I know there are, and mothers too, probably. And when that's happening, you got to remember, if you stay the course, this'll pass. But you cannot let up off the gas. You cannot cave. You cannot cave and say, okay, well, I'm gonna let you have your way more. I'm gonna let you, do the things that I don't really disagree with, but just to keep things, copacetic in the house. No, you can't do that. You can't do. We spoke of that, we kind of spoke on that before, but that's one of the difficulties that you're gonna have when it comes to raising children. You're gonna have that difficulty. That's me being transparent. But what do you say, Speak Rock?
Man, that was powerful. Thank you for that transparent moment. Um, I'm sure I know that resonated. I mean, I resonated. Guess because discipline is always,
Yeah,
because, like you said, where do we start?
yeah,
Then you gave us something that was up there. I'm sure discipline was high up for everybody.
right.
This is something I would say. To answer your question, I looked at it as a threefold problem. And what do I mean by threefold? For a mother and a father. But what can be troubling for a father, because in my household, in the way I view things through my spirituality, the man is the headship of the household, right? So one of the things that a father must get in order is this. One, unresolved past traumas. And I believe a father needs to understand that in himself, and he needs to understand that in his wife. I'm going to tell you why. Most people, especially black people, especially if you came up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, I'm just going to pick on my era, my formative years of growing up, right? Hey, we went through a lot.
Yes.
So if you have unresolved trauma and issues, you're going to raise your kids based on your traumas. And a lot of women, a lot of mothers, the exact same thing. The fact if they had an abusive father or the lack thereof of a father.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to try to raise their kids. They're going to over compensate on try to raise their kids. So it's important for fathers to understand that, especially when you get married. Like, look, we need to have a discussion before we have children. Hey, what was up in your upbringing? What was up in, I'm going to tell you about what was up in my upbringing. And we need to have an agreement about what it is, about how we want to raise our children.
Man.
So that leads me to my second point, agreement. There needs to be some level of agreement about how you're going to raise these kids. And you need the father needs to be ready to step up in front and take charge of that while working with the mother. Okay? And the third thing, lastly, because if none of those two things are resolved, that leads to the third thing, the lack of trust. There is no trust in the situation.
Yeah.
So if I don't know how you was raised, if I don't know, what it is that you want to do, what kind of plan, what kind of agreement we have, how we going to raise these kids, I don't trust you. And if the mother doesn't trust the father, trust me, the people who are going to suffer the most are the children. So I like to believe if you can have a good grasp on those three things, resolve past traumas, be in agreement with your spouse, and have a level of trust, I believe you're more than halfway of fighting that battle of raising your children and eliminating majority all obstacles out of your way. Because then your children, they will vibe off of that. They will vibe off of that culture you've developed in your house.
Yep.
And guess what? No matter what they face, school, organizations, the neighborhood, the streets, no matter what they face, how you lead your house is going to trump all those issues that child is going to face when you're not there with them.
Man, you are 100% right. You are 100% right, because I can speak from experience. I have two older children that are adults that are in their own relationship style. And I have Carter, and then I have my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, Riley. The stuff my older children seen, these younger kids don't know nothing about that. But like you said, Speak Rock, that trauma that they were forced to see with me and their mothers arguing and fighting and stuff like that, it only carried through to it's only going to carry through to their relationships, and I hate that I was that kind of example when those things happen, but they happened. So just like Speak Rock said, the way you conduct yourself, the way you run your household, once your children leave the house, once they start their own relationships, their relationships are going to mimic yours. Their relationships are going to mimic yours. So if you and your wife had a good relationship, once they get in a relationship, they're going to be, okay, this is a good relationship. I know what a good relationship is because my mom and my dad had one. This stuff I'm having with you is no good. It's no good. But if you never seen that before, that's why people say, oh, I like a little toxic relationships. Why you think you like it? Because that's what you seen. But someone who hasn't, who don't know nothing about that, they're gonna be like, I don't like this. I don't like this. Is not this is not what's up. So, man, what you said is spot on, brother. It's spot on. It's spot on. And you think what you're doing is only affecting you? He just said it. No, it's not. It's really affecting those kids that are growing up in that house.
Yeah.
Number 5, the last and final one. How do you measure your success as a father? Now, that's a good one. That's a good one right there. How do you measure your success as a father? That's a good one. I can tell you how I measure it. I can tell you how I measure it.
All right, let me hear it. Let me hear it.
I can tell you how I measure it, brother. One day, my oldest son posted a post on Facebook. And the post was something like, if I could do it all over again and had a choice of any father, it would still be you. So when I seen that, I said, boy, that's why you my boy. I don't like to say favorites, boy, but boy, you did something right there, because that's how you measure if you did a good job or not. It ain't about what nobody else say. It's about what that child has to say about you when you're not around. Of course, when you're around, they're gonna try to say something good about you, unless you're just a piece of trash and that it is what it is. But when you're not around, what are your children saying about you when you are not around? So what? So how do you measure your success, brother?
That was good, man.
Yeah,
That was
man.
struck me to my heart, man.
Yeah, man.
I love what your son said.
Yeah, that was dope, man.
Oh man. I love it. I love it. One of the things I like to do, and as your listening audience gets to get familiar with me, I do my best to mirror my life according to the word of God, the Holy Bible. That's what I try to do. Listen to my words. I try. I try hard.
Yes, we all
I'm
do.
trying every day.
We all do.
Yeah, yeah.
Some try harder than
But
others.
one of the things that I know, right? One of the things that come to my mind is this. I think about the parable about the story of the prodigal son. I'll make this quick. Bottom line is, there's a father. He had 2 sons. One of the sons was entitled. Both of the sons was entitled to the inheritance, but the eldest son, he wanted his inheritance before it was time. Before it was time for him to get it. So he petitioned to his father, like, "Hey, give me my inheritance. I'm about to go live my life." Father probably, "Hey, look, warned against it, but you know what? That's what the son wanted." The father let the son go. Bottom line is, the Bible says that the eldest son got his inheritance and he squandered it all. He squandered it all so much that he found himself sleeping in a pig pen after he done spent all his money.
Yep.
The Bible then goes to say that the eldest son came to himself and was like, "Yo, this messed up. I'm in a messed up situation. But guess what? I can go back home." As the eldest son was making his way back home, the youngest son was at home complaining about what the eldest son had did, right? The Bible goes and says the father saw the eldest son from afar off. So he saw the eldest son come running back. The father, he killed one of their livestock. I believe the Bible calls it the fatted calf. and he got a robe. It was a ceremonial robe. So for a disobedient son who was squandering and not being a good steward of that which he inherited, he came back to his father. His father basically set up a dinner, a buffet. I believe he gave him a robe and a ring. He was like, hey, look, my son that was lost is now found.
Right.
So if I want to measure myself, I have to be the father that the Bible speaks of. So it's not what you do when everything is going well. It's how you conduct yourself when things aren't going well. Can you still be the man God has called you to be for your family, for your children, even when they're not doing what they're supposed to? So because when put to the test, I believe that's the only true way you can find out what you're made of. So if I can exemplify any kind of father and be tested and be measured, that's the example I want to be measured by.
Man, that's the measure. That's the measure you want to be measured by. You want to be measured by. That's the measure you're going to be measured by. When, like Speak Rock said, when things aren't going your way, when this son or daughter is off the path, when everybody else is telling you should you should write them off, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? That's when the rubber meets the road right there. That's when the rubber meets the road, and that's when you can. That's when the real characteristics of a father are displayed right then. That's when they're displayed, because like you said, it's easy when everything's going good. You got your son, he's a superstar athlete. He's getting a scholarship to play basketball. It's easy to be the father that's standing right there. But what about, the dad whose son isn't doing that good? Who's, he's got to go to court with him. He's got to stand by his side. He might go to prison. He's got to take care of his son's responsibilities on the outside. That's when your true characteristics come out, man. So I love it, man. I love that example. But I got one more video for you, Speak Rock. I got to get this video. I had to get this video because I seen this video and I said, man, this is some mess right here. So I'm gonna play this video, and then after that, we're gonna give our 2 cents on it, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Check it out.
I'm gonna talk about something that we don't talk about enough. And I don't want to hear any judgment from moms. Because I'm a kind, gentle person. And I never even talked back to my mom growing up, and if I ever did, oh my gosh. My kids beat me up. They beat me up. My 7 and my 5-year-old beat me. Today I was kicked in the chest, slapped in the face, and punched in the jaw for trying to get pants on a kid to go to school. The issue is, there was no discipline we're allowed to give back. I've tried timeouts. I've tried taking things away. I've tried removing all the screens from the house. I've tried taking away privileges. I've tried taking away extracurriculars. I've tried reasoning with them. I've tried putting in their rooms and taking everything out. I have tried reward systems. I have tried just telling them how much it hurts mommy's heart. But I'm still getting beaten every day, and not a little bit. Bruises on my back, punches in the face, slapped across the face, kicked in the mouth, head-butted, bit. For something as simple as, hey guys, get your clothes on, we gotta get ready for school. My kids have more than I ever dreamed of as a child. They have more love than I ever received as a child. They're still allowed to sleep in bed with mom. They have more toys than I could have ever dreamed of. They have loving parents that get along. We co-parent well. We do everything right. I try to make sure they get book fare, they get special lunches, they get pizza days, they get everything. I try, and I'm a single mom, and I have no money, and I'm doing everything. Everything is for my kids. I haven't bought something new for myself in fucking 5 years since I got divorced. Everything mine is either out of my dad's storage locker advice or thrift stores if I'm lucky. Because if I ever have extra money, it's food or whatever they need for school. And I'm getting punched in the face for asking them to get dressed. I never laid a hand on my mom because I knew what would have happened if I did. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not the only mom dealing with this. It's been 4 years of me every morning dreading this moment of trying to get my kids ready for the bus because I know I'm gonna be told I'm dumb, I'm a loser, they're gonna beat me up, they're gonna hate me. And I'm so tired of dealing with it. When we were little, we got up, we got ready. What happened? What happened? I'm so tired, I just don't know what to do. And whatever suggestion you give me, I've tried it. I've tried it. I know I don't do the other thing because 1, that's awful, and 2, you're not allowed to do anything like that. And I don't condone it. But I don't know how to get my kids to stop punching me in the face and beating me. So if you have any suggestions, I'll be here crying on my bathroom floor wondering why my kids hate me. Because that's how I feel.
Boy, that's a hell of a way to end things, but that's what, when I seen that video, I said, this is some mess right here. This is ridiculous. There's so much that's a whole podcast in itself. That video by itself is a whole podcast by itself. Honestly, but it's so much, that we got to talk about over the we can't do it all. But my take on this, brother, is that first of all, mom, I tried this, I tried that, I tried this, I tried. First of all, stop trying and start doing. You're not doing nothing. All you're doing is trying. I tried taking this away. I tried taking that away. Take it away. Take it away. You don't believe in spankings or whoopings. Okay, well then you've got to be. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think she can do it. It's pretty obvious she doesn't have the capabilities to do this. I don't feel she can do it. You say you got a husband or ex-husband, you guys co-parent good. What is he doing? But this could be kind of what I talked about before. When they with their father, they listen. They come home to their mom, she's getting punched and kicked in the face. But then you want to ask, people want to say, fathers aren't important, men aren't important, this or that. These boys are on a fast track to prison or some type of something, because there could be some stuff mentally going on with them or something like that. But that is a lot. And if anyone tries to tell me, you couldn't tell me in the first place, but after telling me, after watching that, saying that fathers aren't important, and come on. The only one who can fix that situation is their father. That's it. Or some other male figure in their life. That's it. That's it. That's it. Sending them to some type of boot camp or something. That's it. But I'm gonna end it. She said they are 5 and 7, not 13 and 14. 5 and 7. Come on, man. I hand it over to you, my brother. I hand it over to you.
Brother, look, man, in relationship to the topic at hand, do I believe that a father can rectify this situation? Yes, I do. I believe the presence of a father can really resolve a lot of that going on. However, I'll be remiss if I don't say this. That whole family needs a spiritual healing.
Yes. They need hands laid
That
on.
might even they need some constant prayer.
Yeah.
They need to submit themselves up under the mighty hand of the Lord.
Yeah.
And when I say they, I'm talking about the mom, the dad,
Yeah.
the children, and the rest of their whole village.
Yep.
The grandparents,
Yep.
the aunts, the uncles. As far as I'm concerned, everybody's culpable in this situation. Whoever their village is, if she has a village, but I'm just saying, if she does, everybody needs to come to the altar and receive some prayer
Yes.
and go to therapy.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Because what she was saying is totally ridiculous of what she was explaining.
Right.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, the blame is evenly spreaded. I'm not blaming her. I'm not just blaming the dad. It's them and their whole village, period. But in relationships to the topic at hand, do I believe that a father can be impactful for positive change in that situation? Yes, I do. But if that father is lacking in any area, they need to take the second thing that I said. Everybody needs to go to therapy and everybody needs to go to the altar at their church and get some prayer. Period.
That's, I mean, at this point, yes, everybody needs to go to therapy. Everybody needs to go to therapy. And those children need help, because for you to treat your mother that way at that young of an age, and to be that violent, there's something wrong. There's something really wrong there. And if it's not dealt with, you talking about, anything. These boys could do anything growing up. These, they could hurt someone else's children, some other adult. Yes. So yeah, I'm not the one who says, "Oh, therapy is for wimps." No, this family needs it. Like Speak Rock said, all the way up and down the line, the whole village needs to sit and really get professional help. Well, we're gonna end it right there. That was this episode of the Raising Carters podcast. Are fathers more important than mothers? When it comes, I mean, fathers are very important. I'm not gonna say they're more important than mothers. I'm not gonna do that, because I'm not gonna disrespect my wife, my mother, Speak Rock's wife, any one of the, I'm not gonna do that. But if you think they're not important, like this chatter that I hear, on online saying how men are important, they don't do nothing, you can shut that up. I think I think we debunked that on this podcast right here. So, you got any parting words you want to say, my brother, before we get out of here?
I'm going to make a statement, and I would highly encourage your listeners and your viewers to have a reply to this statement that I'm getting ready to say, because I thought about this long and hard. Now, I'm going to take a stance. I would say motherhood to children is more important, but fatherhood is more needed. I want everybody to feast on that and give me their views about what they think about what I just said. Motherhood is more important, but fatherhood is more needed.
Boy, that's a good one right there, brother. You had me thinking about that. You got me thinking about that one. You got me thinking about that one. And I mean, you just said it beautifully. So I'm going to end it right there. I'm going to end it right there. Appreciate you for being on the podcast. We're going to do it again because I love having you on here, brother. And man, we out of here. Peace.
We out. Salute.